Hi everyone, I'm Lori with Behavior Education at Spirit Keeper Animal Sanctuary. Welcome to part 5 of Troubleshooting Target Training. In lesson 5, we're going to discuss escape and avoidance behaviors and what to do if your snake is exhibiting these when you start a target training session. Behaviors that may require troubleshooting are numerous, and we have already gone over what to do if your snake is hiding, what to do if your snake doesn't see the target, what to do if your snake ignores the target, and what to do if your snake is visible, but then you go to get everything ready for the training session and you come back and the snake's retreated or has hidden. Those were lessons 1 through 4. Lesson 5, the one we're in right now, is what to do if your snake is exhibiting escape and avoidance behaviors. So first of all, we need to talk about what escape and avoidance behaviors are. They are actually types of negative reinforcement. So escape and avoidance behaviors lead to an increase in whatever behavior successfully terminated or enabled the snake to avoid an aversive stimulus. So an emotional response associated with safety and security of being away from something they found frightening or aversive results in a sense of relief that that thing is gone or that the experience they didn't like is over, and that negatively reinforces them to continue to do that behavior in the future. So in the context of target training or other training, the snake or other animal finds something aversive, unpleasant, or threatening. They perceive something as scary about the experience or about something in the environment at the time. And that might be you, the target, the reinforcer, some sight, sound, or smell. It might be lights or equipment. It can just be anything in the environment, and they don't like it. And so they escape it or they avoid encountering it in the first place. And because of that, they get a sense of safety and relief, and they find that reinforcing. And so they're going to repeat that behavior that enabled them to escape or avoid that thing in the future. And that's what negative reinforcement is. So what is the difference between escape behavior and avoidance behavior? Well, escape learning is when the snake experiences something unpleasant. So something happens to them that they don't like, and they learn to respond to that in a certain way that makes that unpleasant thing stop or makes that thing they don't like go away. Avoidance learning is when the snake recognizes that there is a warning, something unpleasant is about to happen, or something they don't like is about to happen, or is coming, and so they evade or avert the imminent unpleasant thing before it happens in the first place. So the snake is learning from prior experiences to adjust their behavior to prevent something from happening in the first place, or to prevent encountering something they don't like in the first place, or to get away from something unpleasant or a harmful situation, or to get away from something they don't like once it occurs. So if the snake finds something unpleasant about training, they may escape once the session has started, or they might avoid engaging in the training in the first place when they realize that the session is about to start. So what do avoidance behaviors look like? Well, there are different types of avoidance behaviors. There is passive avoidance and active avoidance. Passive avoidance looks like freezing in place, hiding, or withdrawing on the spot, right there where they are. They hide, they freeze, they just withdraw into themselves. It's a much less effective coping strategy. It typically has a more pronounced and impactful physiologic stress response, which means that it tends to last more long-term, and it's less likely that the animal is going to bounce back quickly from that experience. In other words, it's going to take a lot longer for their stress hormone levels to return to baseline if they tend to use passive avoidance techniques. Active avoidance, on the other hand, looks like fighting, overtly defensive or aggressive behavior, actively trying to flee, overtly and quickly moving away. It's considered a more effective coping strategy. It's considered proactive, and it typically has a less pronounced or impactful physiological stress response. So the animal is actually more likely to recover or bounce back more quickly if they have this active avoidance style to deal with aversive experiences. So what do escape behaviors look like? Escape behaviors specifically are going to be Very overt body language, things like darting, quickly moving away, flight, in other words, fleeing. It might look like body whipping or tail flipping, hissing, striking, biting, grasping, gripping, or anchoring onto something really tightly to keep you from reaching them or to keep themselves from having something get them or grab them. It might be voiding their cloacal excretions. That means urinating, defecating, or eliminating like pheromones or other secretions from their cloaca. It might be that they are expelling urates. It might look like saltatory locomotion, which is a sudden jumping of the snake. It propels itself all at once from one spot to another. And it may just look like retreating very far away to a location to anchor itself, or a ledge or something up high to get onto where it feels safe. It might look for something to hide on top of, or maybe hide or get under the soil, or just to hide in general. But it's definitely moving away to a safe location to hide, as opposed to freezing and hiding and withdrawing in place. So if the snake is displaying escape and or avoidance behaviors, what do you do? Well, first, you need to determine what the snake is escaping from or avoiding. If it is not specifically something to do with the training session itself, which could be things like the target, the way you have the environment set up, some equipment that you have, or the reinforcer, then you need to take care of whatever the snake is afraid of or doesn't like first, and worry about the training later. So how do you know? Well, if the snake is behaving comfortable and relaxed and completely normally, with you walking around, with you doing normal things, with you nearby, with you in the room, with everything that's going on, and their behavior only changes at the presentation of the target, or at the start of the training session, or when you start to set up the environment for the training, then it's likely to do with the training. If the snake is displaying escape and avoidance behavior to begin with, before you've done anything to do with training, then it could be afraid of you or something else in the environment, or it could have something internal going on like pain, or it doesn't feel well for some other reason. So if the snake is displaying escape and or avoidance behavior specifically to do with the training session, do not go after the snake. Do not force interaction or take the snake out of its hide or off of a ledge, or try to uncoil it from gripping around something. You need to acknowledge their fear or aversion and acquiesce to the snake's request for distance and to be left alone. Just abort the session, end it right there, wait for the snake to return to baseline. In other words, wait for them to be displaying comfortable and relaxed behavior, and then try again another time. Depending on the snake and the type of coping strategies and stress response that they have as an individual, returning to baseline might be a few hours or a few days, or it might actually be a week or more, maybe a few weeks. It just depends on the individual. But you want to wait until the snake is out, visible, and in a green or yellow zone as far as our behavior chart, comfortable and relaxed, or displaying good stress or curiosity, and then you can try again. When the snake is out on their own, you could also just capture that specific behavior by reinforcing with food and no target, meaning just reinforce them for being out and visible, and show them that that behavior in itself is a good thing. And then you can proceed with target training from there once they're out and visible more, and realize that it is safe to be out and visible. And then you can reinitiate target training down the road. The next time the snake's out, visible, alert, you can try pairing a different target with food. So if they were just afraid of that specific target you were using, and you pair it with a new target they haven't seen before, that could change their emotional response to target training. Just that change alone could make them feel safe, could make them engage with the training. All right, here are some more things you can do if the snake is displaying escape and or avoidance behavior specifically to do with the target training session itself. You can change the context of the training session. That means change the target, change something with the equipment, change the environment. That means maybe the snake came out to roam around on its own, and you initiate a target training session then. Or the snake is using an exercise tent, and you initiate a target training session then. If the snake was averse to the target training session with the original setup, maybe it was in the enclosure or whatever environment it was in, and you change the environment, that can make a huge difference. Maybe you need to change the antecedent arrangement. That means how you're setting up the environment, what equipment you're using, and what you have present before you start the training session. You can put the training on hold and use puzzle feeders or mazes first before you go back to target training. Maybe they just need that change of context where they're engaging in some other activity before they're actually doing target training. If the snake is averse to your presence, then you need to completely go back and work through the gradual desensitization playlist and the choice-based handling playlist first before you worry about being present when you're doing target training. Now, you can use the methods in the target training shy snakes video, which you do not necessarily have to be present to do in order to start target training with those snakes that might be just afraid of you or something else that you're bringing to the environment. So the snake has to be comfortable with you and the rest of their environment first before you can get any training done, before they can learn and be in the frame of mind to problem solve and learn and be relaxed and comfortable with what you are trying to teach them. So if one of these strategies works for you and the snake is engaging with the target, then next, you just want to follow the step-by-step target training steps in one of the videos in the step-by-step target training playlist. If everything's going normally, then you want to go straight to that video that says target training snakes step-by-step or first step in target training and move up the approximations from there. Thank you so much for learning and for your interest in animal training and behavior. Contact me or leave a comment with your questions. In part 6, we're going to go over what to do if your snake is afraid of the target specifically. And always remember to be kind and love your animals.